Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I am Amzanti Mom slash not slash. My name is Buselezo. Welcome to the channel. And in today's video, I thought I should do a starting solids. All you need to know. So my daughter is 5 months, and I decided that it's time for her to start solids. So I'm going to be taking you guys through how do you know that your child is ready for solids, what is it that you need to buy in terms of food, and then I'm gonna show you guys the actual food making process and the storing, and I'll give you guys some tips what I learned and picked up with my first son. And if this is a video that you think that you are interested in or that it might help, please continue watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so before we get started for this video, so that you guys know, there is a difference in terms of when you start food. There is baby-led weaning, and there is doing purees, and I'm going the puree route. Baby-led weaning is basically when you chop up or give your baby food in its state and then they feed themselves. I don't know much about it, but if that's the route that you are choosing to go, you can research all of that. I decided to do purees because I just feel like it was easier. I can see and control the quantities that my baby eats, as well as when we travel. It's just convenient, guys, to have to have purees for me, right? And with that said, just a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical anything. This is my way and this is how I've done it. There are hundreds of ways, guys, to do your solids. So I am just advising based on my experience. If you are worried about your child eating, consult a doctor. I know a lot of the times when you watch videos, a lot of the videos are like American, and people will be like, oh, consult your doctor, consult your pediatrician. And let's be honest, I'm not gonna pay 1.5 for a pediatrician to tell me what I can research, which is why I thought I should do this video. And yeah, if you're a mom, I'm hoping this will be of some help. Okay, so how do you know that your child is ready for solids? A lot of the research out there recommends that your child should be ready for solids between 4 to 6 months, and obviously higher, so it depends on your child. But there are a few signs that can tell you that your baby is ready for solids. One of them is that your child has good head control. Yeah, so you guys know newborns, you have to support their necks, and they don't have quite good control of their head. So if your child shows good control, then that's one sign. Another sign is your child can sit up. So it doesn't have to, some people say unassisted, but it doesn't mean that. So my daughter can sit up. She still topples over, but she can sit up for quite a while. Even when I put her in her little bamboo seat, which you guys will see, she can sit up, right? She can hold her own body up. So that's one. Another sign is that when you're eating, your child shows interest of you eating. So when you put food in your mouth, they'll be looking, opening their mouth, almost wanting to eat. Yeah, so those are the cues or signs that your child might be ready for solids, right? And it is recommended that you wait until 6 months, but it all depends on your child, guys. And yeah, and another thing is, it's a myth that once you start giving your child solids, that they will sleep longer. So I just want to say it in the beginning. Yeah, it's not true for all children. Ahi, we gave him solids and it was still the same. If your child sleeps longer, it's mostly due to them growing and they're developing. Okay, cool, enough about that. Now let's move into the next part of the video. Now you've decided and you feel that your child is ready to go on solids. What is it that you need to buy? Okay, the first thing, obviously, you're going to need to buy spoons. You're going to need to buy little teaspoons, and I would recommend that you buy teaspoons that are very small. So your baby's mouth is very small and they're not going to open wide, so buy something that's very small, and something that is what's this, soft. And the reason I say soft is because your baby's going to want to bite on the spoon. Sometimes also when the baby's teething, obviously anything you put in their mouth, they want to bite and put it against their gums. So I recommend getting something very soft, malleable and bendable, like these teaspoons here. I got everything that I'm talking about in this video. I just went to Baby City. You can get it even at Pick and Pay, you can get it at baby stores, but for this specific video I went to Baby City, right? So you need spoons, you need bowls. Something that you can feed your child out of. Yeah, something you can feed your child out of. I opted for these small bowls that have lids. It makes it easy when I want to travel, and yeah, put and store food in there. So I picked these bowls that have lids. Another thing that you guys are going to need, if you are going the pureeing food, you're going to need storage, what's this, little storage things, right? When you get your storage packs, pick something that is small, where you can pack or store small quantities of food. And I say this because when your baby's starting out, they're not going to eat much. They're probably going to eat a spoon or 2 spoonfuls of food, so you don't want to be wasting all that food, right? And once you started feeding your baby, you can't reuse that food. You have to throw it away. So yeah, so this is one of my tips, that when you get food storages, make sure that they're small enough that they can go in the fridge. It will be easy for you to take out the food once the food is frozen. Yeah, because you don't want to be making food every day. It's just easier to make food in bulk and then you store it in the fridge. Yeah. Oh, another thing that you're going to need, obviously there's a veggie root. Another thing that is good for starting with solids is rice cereal. So rice cereal is it's easier for the baby to digest, and yeah, I just got this organic rice cereal. Yeah, and then another thing that you need is a place for your baby to sit. So we got this bamboo seat. We actually initially got it for my son Achi when we wanted to assist him in sitting and not falling over, but it's got a feeding tray as well, so he can sit in there, and yeah, he can eat in it. I will say, guys, this is not, don't put yourself under pressure. If you cannot afford to buy a bamboo seat, this goes for about 500 rand. You can feed your child while your child is sitting on your lap, which is why, like I said, that your child needs to be able to hold their body up. So don't feel pressure to go run and buy these things. I'm just saying this is what we got for Achi, but it's possible for you to feed your child. Just put your child on your lap and feed the child. Also, another thing that you can get is also obviously a feeding chair, a high chair, and those go from usually from over 1,000 rand upwards. So you need something to feed your child in. Obviously you need bibs. It does get messy and you don't want your baby's clothes to get messed. So I bought these bibs. I got these as a gift, and then I bought another waterproof one. This will be great for when Anaya starts feeding herself and she's actually grabbing onto food. So that's the bibs. And then another thing as well, so when it comes to making food, steaming is most recommended because you keep all the nutrients. Sometimes when you boil the food, the veggies or whatever, most of the nutrients just go in the water, right? So I have a steamer. I got a steamer. You don't need to buy this, but if you wanted to buy a steamer, you can get a steamer. I think I got this off of Takealot and it was about 500 rand, but I've had the steamer, right? Takealot is everything, guys. So you need a steamer, then you need a food blender, yeah, it is a blender. Hey, yeah. So then you guys will see when I start making the food. Some pots come with that thing with holes where you can actually steam the food. That works perfectly as well. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much the stuff that you need to buy before you get started. Okay, now we're at the part where we're feeding the child and the child needs to eat. Okay, and here are my tips. I think these are quite important and they'll be quite helpful before you actually start feeding your child. Number one, don't feed your child when they are hungry. So if it's time for your child to eat, give them the bottle as usual. You don't want them to be starving and learning this new activity that's happening, right? So feed your child normal bottle and then wait about an hour, right? Wait about an hour or an hour and a half, and then you introduce solid. Don't feed your child when they're hungry because they'll be miserable and they won't want to eat. Number two, in terms of what foods you can give your child, for me, I use this. I'll try and link the food chart. I found it on Pinterest, but a lot of the times people recommend that you start with veggies and start with the orange ones, because they're easier to digest, apparently. Guys, there's research, there's different people saying this and this. This is just what I did, right? So you'll see even as I'm making the food, so start with carrots, butternut, and yeah, you can start with pumpkin. And I will say another tip is when you're thinking of the food to start off with, don't start off with fruit, guys. Don't start off with fruit purees because obviously they're nicer, they're sweeter, so they might make the adjustment from shifting from the sweets to the veggies a bit hard, right? So that's tip number two. Tip number three, and this is very important, don't mix purees. So when you're starting out, don't take pumpkin and maybe carrot and mix them. The reason for this is you want to pick up, if your child is allergic to anything, you want to know what it is that they're allergic to, right? So you're going to give your child pumpkin maybe for 1, 2 days, 3 days, some people do that. Then the next 2 days you introduced a new veggie, so that if your child is allergic to something, you can pick it up. And along with this tip number 5 or number 6, I don't even know how, guys, I don't know what tip we're on. Try when you give your baby solids to do it during the day or during the afternoon, so that if they do have an allergic hospital, you can rush them to hospital. Yeah, you don't want your child to be having an allergic reaction during the night, guys. That could be very scary. So that's another tip. If you're going to give your child and you're starting out with solids, you're starting out with a new ingredient, start them off during the day or in the morning. You can give your child pretty much anything. The only things, guys, you cannot give a baby before the age of 12 months is honey. So you don't put honey in the food, and you don't give them cow's milk. If any of the ingredients, even when you give them the rice cereal, it will tell you to add the baby's milk. So you'll take formula and add that into the baby's milk, or you take your breast milk and mix it with the rice cereal. And the reason is that the baby is just not ready. The baby cannot digest cow's milk as of yet. So don't give your child cow's milk, and don't give your child honey. Those are the only don't go food, right? But anything, eggs, a lot of the information now is coming out that the sooner you give your child, the less allergic they'll be to things. I don't know how true that is. Try it out. An example with Ahi, the first time we gave him eggs, I think he was 5 months, and he had a very runny tummy, and I think he vomited. So I was like, okay, nope. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to give him eggs at all. So as time went by, then we introduced eggs again, and he was fine, right? But when you're starting out, look at the chart and go. So the chart basically tells you that from 4 months, these are the kind of things you give your baby, from 5 months, from 6 months. So you're not going to start off with introducing meat to your child, right? Yeah, so I'll link the chart down below, but you can also just search it on Pinterest, right? Starting out solids. And then another thing, before you feed, when you make the food, you need to blend it that the food is soft enough for your baby to eat. Now remember, your baby, all they know is milk, so you can't make anything lumpy. The consistency needs to be very smooth, not watery like the milk, but it needs to be very smooth. So yeah, you guys will see the consistency as I give an air. So yeah, that, I think I've covered everything you need before you're feeding and when it's time to feed, right? So now we are ready. Your baby is ready to eat. Is he gonna eat? Are you gonna eat? Are you gonna eat? What do I tell? What do I tell? I thought I should show you guys how much she ate, which is why 2 spoons is actually, 1 spoonful is actually enough. So this is what's left over. I'm not going to put it back because it's all mixed up with her saliva. Yeah, after this you just throw it away. So that's why you really need to start off with very small portions, because then you're going to be wasting a whole lot of food. Yeah, so this is what's left over. Your child might push the food out. It's like I think it's a reflex, right? You put the spoon in and they push it out. This does not mean that your child does not want solids. That's them learning and figuring things out and what's happening with their tongue, right? So as you can see in the video, I keep continuing to feed Anea. Some food she swallows, some food she doesn't. She left quite a bit of food left over. So don't be put aside, don't be dismayed if your child is doing that with their tongue. That is normal. A few people would argue that if your child is still pushing, that means that they're not ready. Obviously I don't believe that, but yeah, because Achi did the same thing. For me, it's just like, this is your child learning how to eat. So yeah, I will say though, guys, if your child starts to cry and they are just like, no, don't force it. Leave it, give it another 3 days, and if they're not ready, it's fine. Don't force your child, because you want the experience to be enjoyable, you want it to be fun for you and for your baby. So if your child is screaming and is not ready to eat, it's okay, just put the food down. So hopefully as time goes by, I will show you guys different food variations to go. I'm planning to introduce fruit not much later on, but as time goes by. And then also another thing is, how often do you feed your child? So what a lot of people do, and what I did, is that you start off with 1 meal, right? So if you choose breakfast, then you'll do that breakfast for maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. Then as your baby grows, following weeks, then you start introducing feeding them breakfast and during lunchtime, and then still the milk. The milk is still the key thing that your baby will eat. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, please ask them down below. I really hope that this video was helpful, and I hope I didn't leave anything out. I'm trying to speak as fast as possible because Anea and Achi are both sleeping, guys. So I was like, this is when I need to record this video. And yeah, guys, we are almost at 1,000 subscribers. Yay! Thank you so much to everybody who keeps coming back and watching my videos, who keeps commenting down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new. It's so nice to have you in the family. Make sure that you guys share this video. There might be moments that might learn something. But yeah, guys, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Love. Bye, guys.